The wind howled across the rocky alien valley. Red dust swirled around a small landing craft sitting awkwardly on the cracked surface of planet Zaro 7. Inside the cockpit, a human named Ethan Cole was fixing a broken communication relay. He was a simple space engineer, not a soldier or a hero. Just a man who liked quiet places and broken things. But this planet was too quiet. No birds, no insects, no sounds, only silence. And something strange on his radar. Ethan checked the scanner. Again, a faint life sign blinked a few kilometers east. It wasn't supposed to be there. This area was declared dead, no oxygen, no native life. And no visitors in over 10 years. Still, the signal pulsed, curious and a bit worried. Ethan grabbed his oxygen mask and stepped out of the ship. He walked over sharp stones and strange, glowing moss following the scanner's signal. Every step made his heart beat faster. Then he saw her, an alien woman, lying on the ground near a rock. Her skin pale and cracked like dried paint. Her arms were wrapped around something, a bundle covered in torn fabric. Blood leaked from her side. Her breathing was shallow. Ethan dropped to his knees beside her. She looked up at him with glowing violet eyes, full of pain and desperation. "Help. Her," she whispered. Ethan's eyes went to the bundle. It was a baby, an alien child, small, quiet, with faint blue patterns on her skin. Her eyes opened slowly, and for a moment, Ethan froze. They glowed like stars. The mother coughed, blood dripping from her lips. "She is last. Of us," she whispered. "Protect her, please." Ethan tried to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. The mother reached out with one trembling hand and touched Ethan's chest. "You're human, good heart. She's yours now." And then, silence. Her hand dropped. Her chest stopped moving. Her eyes stared at the empty sky. Ethan sat there, in the cold wind, unable to move. He didn't even know her name. She didn't beg for her own life. She didn't ask for revenge. She only wanted her child to live. The baby made a soft sound, like a kitten crying. She reached toward Ethan with tiny fingers. He wrapped her in his coat and lifted her gently. Her skin was warm but fragile. She didn't feel like any human baby. But there was something familiar in the way she clung to him. Back at his ship, Ethan placed the baby inside a warm containment pod. He checked her vitals, 2 hearts, alien blood, strange oxygen needs. But she was alive. He looked at the scanner logs. No other ships, no distress calls, just that one signal. One mother, one child, and now. He had her. As he flew back into orbit, he contacted Earth Command. "Ethan Cole, requesting emergency protocol." "Clearance," he said. "What's the emergency?" came the calm voice from Mission Control. "I found a child," Ethan replied. "Alien. Female. Her mother died. I think she gave the child to me." There was a long silence on the line. Then, "Repeat that, Ethan." He did. This time. The reply came with warning lights flashing on his console. "Do not bring the child to Earth. Do not enter civilian space. This could be considered contamination. Await further instructions." Ethan's jaw tightened. She's just a baby. She could be a weapon, a trap, or worse. Wait for quarantine ships. He looked down at the sleeping child. Her tiny hand clutched his finger. Her soft breathing was peaceful. "Negative," he said, switching off the transmission. "I'm not handing her over." He changed his flight path toward the outer rim colonies, somewhere quiet, somewhere safe. He didn't know who the baby was. He didn't know why her mother chose him. But he knew this. He was going to protect her. No matter what. The stars stretched before him like a long road. And at the end of that road, he hoped there was peace. For her, for the one called the Silent Gift. Asterisk, asterisk, the stars outside Ethan's ship drifted slowly, calm and cold. But inside, Ethan was far from calm. The alien baby wrapped in a thermal blanket slept peacefully in a small corner of the ship. Her strange glowing eyes had closed hours ago, and she hadn't made a sound since. But Ethan couldn't sleep, not with the warning from Earth Command still ringing in his ears. Do not bring the child to Earth. Await quarantine forces. It switched off communications, ignored 3 automated pings from a nearby space station, and changed his course toward an unmarked mining colony in the Outer Rim. It was a place with few laws, fewer people, and almost no questions. He wasn't just hiding her, he was protecting her, even if he didn't understand why. Todd. Suddenly, the ship's console beeped. A red light blinked. Unknown vessel approaching. Ethan's hands moved fast, activating scanners. A sleek, dark ship had appeared on long-range radar. No registration, no transponder. That meant trouble. Pirates, maybe? Or something worse. He activated stealth mode, cutting his speed and shifting toward the shadow of a nearby asteroid field. The baby stirred at the sudden silence of the engines, but she didn't cry. She only turned and pulled the blanket tighter. Ethan's mind raced. Who were they? How did they find him so quickly? He zoomed in on the mystery ship's profile. It was nothing like human ships. Too smooth, too quiet. No engine sound, no heat trails. Alien, he whispered. They're not here for me. They're here for her. He gently picked up the baby, holding her close to his chest. Her skin glowed faintly against the shadows. She opened her eyes and looked up at him. Those same bright star-like eyes, and for a moment, Ethan felt like he was being seen. Completely seen. She wasn't afraid. But maybe she should have been. The alien ship moved silently above the asteroid field, scanning the rocks, looking for him. It didn't fire. It didn't shout demands. It simply hovered, watching, waiting. Ethan powered down everything except life support. No lights, no sound, no movement. Then, the baby began to glow. Brighter, brighter. What's happening? Ethan whispered. She wasn't crying, but her whole body shimmered with a blue light, and the air around her grew warm. It was like her body knew they were in danger. And then something even stranger happened. The alien ship turned away. It didn't find them. It just backed off, as if something had pushed it. Ethan blinked. Did she just hide us? The moment passed. The light faded. The baby fell back asleep in his arms. Ethan slowly brought the systems back online, heart racing. He flew through the asteroid belt in silence, rerouting his journey once more, this time to a hidden moon base he remembered from his early engineering days. It was abandoned, off-grid, and perfect for laying low as he landed on the dusty moon surface. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that the alien ship had known exactly where to find him, but something stopped it from attacking. He laid the child down in a soft storage unit converted into a bed, then opened an old storage crate and pulled out a recording device. He had to document what he found, what the mother said, what had happened so far. Day 1, he recorded. Unknown alien mother handed me her child. Female. Unknown species. Possibly endangered. Was hunted within hours by non-human vessel. He looked over at the child and paused. This baby might be something more than just a survivor. That night he had a dream. A field of stars. A voice echoing in his mind, soft but full of power. She must survive. He woke up sweating. The baby was staring at him, not crying. Just watching. Like she understood. Hours later, Ethan checked the ship's logs. A new file had appeared on his system, corrupted. Strange symbols he couldn't read. He hadn't downloaded it. But the baby had touched the console the night before. He ran it through a translator. Only one word came through clearly: warning. Ethan stood at the window of the moonbase, holding the baby close as the stars shimmered above them. Somewhere out there, her enemies were looking for her. And now, for him too. But in that quiet moment, as the child yawned and reached for his face with tiny, glowing fingers, he knew one thing for sure. She wasn't just a child. She was a message. A key, and perhaps the last hope of an entire race. 3 weeks had passed since Ethan Cole first held the alien baby in his arms. He still didn't know her name. She didn't speak, didn't cry, and didn't act like a normal child. But every day she showed signs she was far more than just a baby. She had started drawing with scraps of old plastic, a dull stylus, and the walls of the abandoned moonbase. The child who Ethan now called Lyra filled surface after surface with symbols. Circles, lines, patterns, even maps. Ethan didn't understand any of it, but he didn't stop her. Something in him knew this mattered. One morning, Ethan entered the old control room and stopped cold. The entire wall had been covered in glowing symbols carved in with her fingers, which seemed to leave behind faint trails of energy. At the center was an image, a large planet surrounded by ships and fire. War, chaos, and at the bottom corner, a smaller figure. A girl with glowing eyes, standing alone. It was Lyra. She had drawn herself. Ethan walked over, his voice quiet. "This your home?" he asked. Lyra turned her head slowly and nodded once, her first clear response. Later that day, Ethan ran a basic scan on Lyra's brainwaves. He didn't expect anything fancy, just a checkup, but the readings shocked him. Her brain activity was more advanced than any human child. Parts of her brain were active that shouldn't be. Not just memory centers, but language, logic, even dream synthesis. "She's remembering things," Ethan muttered, "but not from this life." He pulled up ancient records, alien languages, forgotten empires, known races from across the galaxy. A few of Lyra's symbols matched fragments from extinct civilizations long thought lost. She wasn't just remembering. She was a living archive. That night, Lyra crawled into Ethan's lap and pointed to a worn-out data pad. She tapped a sequence on the screen, a star, then a wave, then to circles. Ethan ran it through a translator. Home, destroyed. Secret. His heart raced. "You're trying to show me something? Something they don't want us to know." Lyra nodded again, then placed her small hand on Ethan's chest. Images exploded in his mind. For just a moment, Ethan saw it through her memories. A tall alien woman holding her, running through fire. Huge ships raining energy beams onto cities. People screaming. Soldiers falling. A council shouting, "Destroy the child." Gosh, she knows too much. And then, escape. A single pod sent across the stars. A mother's tears. A final whisper. Find the humans. They still have honor. Ethan gasped and pulled back. His head was spinning. "She gave you her memories," he said, breathless. "And they want to erase you because of what you know." Lyra didn't speak. She simply leaned against him, tired from sharing such a heavy truth. Ethan stared at the cracked walls of the moonbase. He had been hiding, waiting. But now he understood something important. This wasn't just about protecting Lyra. This was about protecting everything she carried, her people's knowledge, their history, their secrets, maybe even their future. The next day, Ethan noticed something strange on the ship's sensors again. 3 scout drones were nearby, not human, not registered, silent, and scanning. He grabbed Lyra and hid deeper in the base's underground tunnel system. As they walked, Lyra clutched his hand, her tiny fingers warm and glowing slightly. When they reached a sealed chamber, Lyra looked at the wall and placed her hand on it. A pulse of light shot out. The door opened. What in the stars? Ethan muttered. Inside was an ancient alien terminal, glowing softly. It wasn't human. It had been here long before him. Lyra walked to it like she had done it before. Like she remembered, the screen lit up. A language Ethan had never seen began to scroll. That then, in clear English, the words appeared. This child is the key. Protect her. When the stars burn again, she will bring light. Ethan stared, overwhelmed. Who built this? Lyra looked up at him, then back at the screen. She pressed a few symbols and another message appeared. Human, you were chosen. Ethan didn't know what to say. All this time, he thought he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But maybe he was exactly where he was supposed to be. That night, Ethan sat beside Lyra as she slept. Her body glowed faintly in the dark, and her breathing was soft and peaceful. He looked at the stars outside the dome. They're going to come for you again, he whispered. And when they do, I'll be ready. Because Lyra wasn't just a child. She was memory. She was warning. She was hope, and Ethan Cole, a lonely engineer, had just become the protector of a legacy. The galaxy had tried to erase. The silence of the moonbase was broken by a single alarm. Incoming vessel detected. Ethan sat up quickly from the floor. Where he had been sleeping beside Lyra, she was still curled up in the blanket, her glowing eyes barely open. But Ethan knew they didn't have much time. He ran to the control terminal and checked the scanner. One ship. Big, not human. No ID signal. He zoomed in. His heart dropped. The same sleek, silent ship that had searched for them weeks ago was back. Ethan turned to Lyra. We have to hide, he whispered. But she was already standing quiet, calm, like she had expected. She pointed to the lower tunnels. The ancient passageways below the moonbase that led to old, forgotten mining chambers. Ethan grabbed a small emergency pack, wrapped Lyra tightly in a cloak. And they began their descent. As they moved through the dark metal halls, Ethan could hear the distant hum of the enemy ship landing above. Dust rained from the ceiling. The ground shook. They're not here to talk, he muttered. They're here to take you. The mining tunnels were cold and silent. Ethan's flashlight flickered. Lyra walked beside him, holding his hand. Her small feet made no sound. Why? Are they chasing you? Ethan asked quietly, not expecting an answer. But Lyra stopped. She turned, looked up at him, and placed one glowing hand on the wall. A projection flickered to life. Holograms filled the dark tunnel. Images, words, moving light. A massive alien council chamber. Dozens of alien leaders shouting at each other. In the center, a memory of Lyra's mother stood tall, arguing with them. She carries the knowledge of the past. The mother shouted, "We must hide her, or they will erase everything." The council leader slammed his fist. Let the past die. If she survives, the truth will spread, and so will the rebellion. The projection flickered out. Ethan's mouth went dry. That's why, he said. They're scared of the truth. Lyra nodded, her face sad but strong. Above them, heavy footsteps echoed through the base. Multiple creatures had entered. They were searching, slow and methodical. Ethan held his breath and listened. One of them hissed in a guttural voice scanned the area. She is here. The human is protecting her. Ethan cursed under his breath. They know I'm with you. Lyra gently tugged his sleeve and pointed deeper into the mine. They walked quickly, deeper into the darkness. The walls started to change, no longer human-built. Smooth metal, glowing veins, symbols that looked like Lyra's drawings. This was no mine. It was something older, alien. They entered a chamber unlike any Ethan had seen. Circular, high ceiling, and in the center a glowing column of energy. It hummed softly, like a heartbeat. Lyra approached it and placed her hand on the surface. The glow grew brighter. The air grew warmer. Suddenly, she began to speak. Not in English, not in any known language, but in something ancient. A language full of meaning and power. Ethan stepped back, stunned. She had never spoken before. The energy column pulsed, then released a wave of light that shot up through the chamber's ceiling straight into the sky. From above, the alien soldier shouted. She activated the beacon. Find her now. Ethan turned to Lyra. What did you do? She looked up at him and said softly, called the truth. Before he could ask what she meant, the walls of the chamber shifted. A hidden panel slid open, revealing an alien device. It looked like a small egg, covered in runes and lights. Lyra handed it to Ethan. He took it carefully. What is it? She placed a hand on his chest. A message. A memory. A weapon. All in one, Ethan suddenly understood it wasn't just about hiding her anymore. It was about revealing the truth to the galaxy. The ground shook again. The enemy was close. Ethan grabbed Lyra and the device. We have to move. They'll be right behind us. As they ran back into the tunnel, the sound of lasers cutting through metal echoed through the base. The alien soldiers had found the entrance. Ethan looked over his shoulder. He saw them, tall, dark-skinned, covered in armor, glowing red eyes. No faces, no emotions, just weapons. He ran faster, but Lyra stopped suddenly and turned around. Lyra, what are you doing? She raised her hand. A shockwave of blue light erupted from her palm. Throwing the first two soldiers backward, Ethan's eyes widened. How did you? She turned back to him and whispered, I remember. Now they made it to the emergency escape hatch. Ethan slammed the controls. The floor opened beneath them, revealing a drop pod and old mining transport used to launch samples off the moon. It would be dangerous. Cramped, no weapons. But it was their only way out. Ethan buckled Lyra in, then strapped himself beside her. He looked down at her. Where do we go? She didn't say a word. She just reached out and touched the navigation panel. Coordinates appeared on the screen. An unknown planet far in the outer system. Ethan looked at her and nodded. Then that's where we go. As the pod launched into the dark sky, the moon base exploded behind them. The enemy had arrived too late. But they would return because now they knew the truth was still alive. And the galaxy was no longer safe from the past. The drop pod landed, hard on the surface of a green and misty planet. Ethan unstrapped himself and pulled Lyra into his arms. She didn't cry or flinch. Her glowing eyes simply scanned the strange jungle around them. It was wet, warm, full of sounds unlike any planet Ethan had visited. Bird-like creatures flew overhead. The trees breathed steam. And far in the distance, mountains glowed softly in the light of two small suns. Ethan looked at the blinking map on the screen. These were the coordinates Lyra had chosen. Why here? He asked. Lyra, still silent, placed her hand over his heart. Here is safe. Here remembers. They built a shelter using old parts from the pod and natural materials. For the first time in weeks, they had some peace. But Ethan knew it wouldn't last. The enemy ship had seen the beacon. They wouldn't stop until they found her again. Still, he needed answers. Real ones. That night, while Lyra slept under a thermal blanket, Ethan pulled out the alien egg she had given him inside the moon base. It pulsed with faint light. He placed it gently on a scanner connected to his portable research device. The results shocked him. DNA detected, 87% unknown, 13% human compatible. What? Ethan blinked. He ran the test again. Same result. Lyra's genes weren't just alien. A small part of them shared base structures with humanity's, something that should have been impossible. Unless her species and humans had once been connected. Or, engineered. The next morning, Lyra was already awake, sitting near the tree line, drawing again. This time, in the dirt. Ethan walked over and watched as she carefully drew a circle with 8 lines, each pointing to a different star symbol. She pointed at one of the stars, then at herself. Then she pointed at a second star. And at Ethan. 2 stars, 2 beings. One connection? You're trying to tell me we were once the same, he whispered. Lyra nodded slowly. Ethan spent hours running simulations, scanning her DNA and comparing it to Earth records. He discovered something strange in her blood, tiny glowing particles that responded to electromagnetic fields. They weren't just cells, they were living. Data, like small biological computers. Hidden inside her genes, when he activated a small field around her, they responded by reshaping, glowing brighter. And then syncing with his scanner. A message appeared on the screen. Weapon? No. Key? Yes. Heart of the lost. Voice of the past. Ethan sat back, stunned. Lyra wasn't created for war. She was created for remembrance. A living being who carried knowledge in her body. History in her blood. She was a genetic key to something. Ancient something powerful. Later that evening, Lyra came to him with a question, her first clear words in English. Why do humans help? Ethan smiled gently. Because we choose to. Not always, but some of us try. Lyra tilted her head. My mother said. Humans were different. She was right. They sat together by the fire, stars shining above. Lyra leaned her head against Ethan's side. He looked up at the stars. How much do you remember? He asked. She whispered, not all, but it's coming back. Do you remember your people? I remember their pain. She closed her eyes and said, they gave me memories. Not just mine, all of theirs. I hold them inside. Ethan stared at her, amazed. You're a living archive. She nodded. That's why they fear me. Because I remember everything. They tried to erase. The next day, Ethan received a strange signal on his scanner. A nearby science ship human was orbiting the planet. He hesitated. It was a risk, but they needed help. He sent out a coded message to the ship, identifying himself and requesting medical scans for a non-human orphan. Hours later, the ship landed quietly in the jungle clearing. A woman stepped out, a geneticist named Dr. Sana Reyes. She was cautious at first, but when she saw Lyra, she froze. She's impossible. Ethan told her everything. Dr. Reyes scanned Lyra and confirmed Ethan's findings. The glowing blood, the living memory cells, the human-compatible DNA. This child isn't just a key, Dr. Reyes whispered. She might be the only bridge left between 2 ancient civilizations. But as the doctor studied more, she grew quiet. Finally, she looked at Ethan with serious eyes. There's something else, she said. Her genetic code, it's changing. What do you mean? She's adapting, evolving faster than anything we've ever seen. Is that dangerous? Not to us. But if her enemies find her before she's ready, destroy her before she completes the transformation. Into what? Dr. Reyes paused. I don't know, but I think she's becoming something we've never seen before. A new kind of life form, one that remembers everything and learns even more. That night, while the humans slept, Lyra stood beneath the stars. Her glowing eyes looked up at the sky. She could feel them watching, moving closer. They're coming again, but she wasn't. Afraid, she was remembering more each day. She was changing, and soon, She would be ready. The jungle was no longer quiet. Ethan stood at the edge of the clearing, staring up at the sky. Red flashes blinked between the clouds. Ships alien ones hovered above the atmosphere. They hadn't landed yet, but they were. Close, too close. Behind him, Lyra sat in deep focus. Her eyes were closed, her body glowing with a soft blue light. Tiny sparks danced across her skin. It had started the night before her final change, whatever she was becoming. It wasn't just physical, it was ancient. It was powerful. Dr. Sena. Reyes ran her final scans and looked at Ethan with worry. Her energy readings are rising, she said. Faster than anything I've seen. It's like her cells are preparing. For something big. She told me they're coming again, Ethan said, his jaw tight. And this time, they won't stop. Dr. Reyes looked at the sky. If they land, we won't be able to stop them. Ethan didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the clouds, where the enemy's shadows moved like ghosts. He had made a promise to an alien mother who died in silence. To the girl who carried a galaxy's forgotten past. He would keep that promise, even if it cost him everything by sunset. The alien warships had surrounded the jungle. Black triangular ships floated above the treetops. They made no sound, no lights. Just an eerie stillness, like a predator waiting to strike. Ethan loaded the last of his energy weapons. Old, half broken, but they still worked. Dr. Reyes looked at him. You can't stop them alone. I don't need to stop them forever, he said. Just long enough for her to finish, whatever she's becoming. You're just one. Man. I've been just one man since this started, Ethan replied. That never stopped me. He handed her the alien memory device, the glowing egg. If I don't make it, get this off-world. Show it to someone who can help. Lyra's truth can't die here. Dr. Reyes nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. You're brave. No, Ethan said softly. I'm a father now. The alien soldiers dropped into the jungle like shadows. 10. Of them, maybe more. Tall, armored, and silent. They didn't scan. They didn't speak. They moved with one goal. Find the girl. Erase the past. Ethan took cover behind a boulder near the clearing. He aimed his rifle and waited. The first soldier stepped into view, its red eyes glowing through the mist. Boom! A shot rang out. The soldier dropped. The others hissed and moved in. Ethan ran, fired, moved again. He wasn't a trained killer, but he was clever. He used the jungle. Like a maze, forcing them to split up, one by one. He took them down, but it wasn't enough. Soon, 3 soldiers had him pinned. One grabbed his arm, slamming him to the ground. His rifle skidded away. The alien raised a blade, ready to strike, then a pulse of blue light slammed into the soldier. Throwing it across the trees, Ethan blinked. Lyra stood behind him, glowing, brighter than ever. Her body floated slightly above the ground. Her eyes were shining stars. The 2 remaining soldiers charged. She raised her hand. Time stopped. At least, that's how it felt. The soldiers froze mid-stride, their weapons shaking. In their hands, then their armor cracked. Lights burst, and they collapse, lifeless. Ethan stared in awe. Lyra, she turned to him. I remember everything now. Her voice was calm, strong. I'm not just a child, she said. I'm a vessel, for all that was lost. She walked to the center of the clearing. Her body lit the trees around her. Her hands stretched toward the sky. The clouds parted above her. The mothership hovered, massive, dark, terrifying. Lyra spoke not with sound, but with light. Blue pulses shot from her body into the sky, straight into the mothership. The enemy? Ship shook, its lights blinked wildly. Then it stopped moving, frozen in the sky. Ethan ran beside her, shielding his eyes from the light. What are you doing? She whispered, showing them. What they tried to destroy. Inside the mothership, the alien minds were forced to see visions of their crimes, their war, the genocide of Lyra's people, the councils that lied, the soldiers that burned history. They saw it all because Lyra made them. Remember, her light was memory, truth, justice. The mothership broke apart piece by piece, not from bombs, but from truth. The alien enemy couldn't handle what they buried. When the ship exploded in the sky, blue fire rained gently over the jungle. No heat, no danger, just light. Lyra collapsed into Ethan's arms, breathing hard, but alive. Ethan held her tightly, whispering, "You did it. You stopped them." "No," she said softly. "We did." Later, as Dr. Reyes patched Ethan's wounds, she stared at Lyra. Sleeping peacefully. "She's not just the future," she said. "She's the cure. To forgetting, to silence, to fear." Ethan looked at the stars above them. For the first time, he said, maybe the galaxy has hope again. And he would protect that hope. Because sometimes, the last defender isn't the strongest. He's just the one who refuses to run. The jungle had grown quiet again. Not the scared kind of silence that comes before danger. This time, it was peaceful. As if the world itself had taken a deep breath and finally let it out. Ethan stood beside Lyra, who now slept inside a protective field Dr. Reyes had set up. Her glowing body had dimmed after the explosion in the sky, but her heartbeat was steady. Calm, she used everything she had. Dr. Reyes whispered. Mental, physical, emotional energy. She forced an entire species to remember their crimes. Ethan nodded, and she did it without a single weapon. The stars above still shimmered, but the enemy ship was gone. Destroyed not by war, but by memory. The kind that burns when truth is shown. For the next few days, Ethan and Dr. Reyes stayed. In the jungle clearing, they didn't move, they didn't run. Because now, they didn't have to. No more strange ships appeared. No more shadow soldiers came searching. And Lyra, even in sleep, seemed to glow with quiet strength. On the fourth day, Lyra finally opened her eyes. Ethan was sitting near her, fixing a small panel from the pod's broken engine. When he saw her move, he dropped the tool and rushed over. "You're awake," he said, kneeling beside her. Lyra blinked, then smiled her first real smile since the day they met. "Hi, Dad." The word hit Ethan like a gentle thunder. Warm, full of emotion, and completely unexpected. He had never told her to call him that. But deep down, he had always hoped. He laughed softly, tears forming in his eyes. "Hi, sweetheart." Later, they sat together under the twin suns. Lyra was quiet, but brighter than before. She spoke slowly, choosing her words with care. "I remember. My people now, their songs, their cities, their kindness. You carry all of them in you," Ethan said. "But not just them," she added, looking at him. "Now, I carry you, too." Dr. Reyes joined them and said, "The data in her body, it's changed again. It's more than memory now. It's becoming life." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" "She's evolving still. The cells in her body are adapting to protect others, to pass on knowledge. She's becoming something that can't be erased." Lyra turned her eyes to the sky. "I'm not the end. I'm the seed." Word spread fast. Dr. Reyes sent encoded messages through hidden networks. Messages about a girl who stopped a war without firing a shot. A girl with glowing skin and memories of stars. Whispers turned into waves. Ships began arriving, scientists, historians, and peacekeepers. Not to capture, not to question, but to listen. They all came to see the child of the forgotten people. The girl who remembered. One visitor, a tall alien with silver skin, knelt before Lyra and said, "We thought your kind was gone forever." Lyra placed her hand on his, and replied, "As long as memory remains, no one is truly gone." Her words were written in 1,000 languages, across star systems, across governments. Soon, the jungle became a haven. A living library. Ethan helped build it home by home, lab by lab. Using his engineering skills, Dr. Reyes became the first archivist. She recorded Lyra's drawings, her songs, her dreams, and Lyra. She began teaching, not like a normal child, but with light, with touch, with story. She sat with alien children, sharing the history of a lost race. Not with anger, but with love. She told them, "I was once a baby in the arms of a dying mother." But she didn't give up. She gave me two hope. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the trees, Ethan sat beside Lyra on a wooden bench they'd built together. She looked older, now not by years, but by presence. "Do you ever miss your mother?" Ethan asked gently. Lyra nodded. "Every day, but I hear her in the wind, in the fire, in the stars." Ethan put his arm around her. "She'd be proud of you. She sent me to you," Lyra said. Oh, she knew. "Only a human heart would understand. Mine." Ethan smiled, tears in his eyes again, and I'm glad she did. As night fell, Lyra looked up at the galaxy she had saved. But she didn't feel like a savior. She felt like a girl, a daughter, and a bridge between worlds. Ethan whispered one last thought into the sky. She was born from ashes. Now she shines like the first star. And no matter what came next, he knew this. Lyra wasn't just hope for her race. She was hope for all.